And we'll get started. So welcome everybody to this special Team Freedom exclusive training with the one, the only Bob Heilig. You guys, it is such a privilege. There's no question that this is the most big deal thing probably that's ever happened to our team right now. And so thank you so much, Bob, for taking some time for us today. Just so you know too, Bob, everybody here in this meeting has earned the spot to be here. This is not just like a willy-nilly thing showing up, hanging out with people like Bob Heilig. Everybody here qualified to be here. They participated in an action-focused incentive where we got some invitations out and we confirmed some guests for a really cool live event we did on Facebook. And so everybody here took the action. They invited the guests. They confirmed with their guests. And that's how they earned a spot right here in this training. So let me just introduce you all to Bob in case you've never met him before or heard of him. So he is a husband, he's a father, he's a network marketing professional and superpreneur extraordinaire, okay? His podcast, the Your Virtual Upline podcast, has had over 1 million downloads. I'm a huge fan of this podcast. I highly, highly recommend it and want to encourage you guys, when you're doing like your 10 minutes or 10 pages of personal development a day, pull up Your Virtual Upline, listen to any one of his episodes, and you'll just be like done. Like you'll be so fired up. He is the founder and creator, guys, of the Legacy Leadership Academy. And I know a few of you here are currently members or have been members in the past. Okay, and that's like an online Facebook mentorship and training group where he trains network marketers on how to lead their teams and grow their organization from a servant leader's mindset, which is super cool. That totally aligns with what we believe on our team as well. He runs an annual industry conference, okay? He calls it the Impact and Growth Summit. And where's Heather Burge? Heather Burge, can you just come off mute and say a quick hi?
Hey!
I saw Heather front and center right in the middle of my screen.
There she is. Guys, you're not going to believe this. Well, probably you are actually, because she's so amazing. But Heather is actually going to be participating on a panel, right, Heather? For Bob's event. So what a privilege to have one of our best showing up at a very cool live event, hanging around amazing entrepreneurs in our industry. And so I did buy the virtual ticket, Bob, even though I'm out here in California. I would not miss it. Okay, nice. So definitely check out Impact and Growth Summit and watch for Heather Burge on the stage. Okay, he's created tons of courses, guys, especially social media focused network marketing trainings, and has a killer email list. He's got an email that goes out every day. So if you guys aren't on Bob's email list, I highly recommend. It's free, and you get nuggets every single day coming in to your email box. And you can find him obviously on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Tons of free resources available to you to grow in this area. And so please help me welcome Bob. Maybe just a little silent clap here. Everybody's got lots of applause. And Bob has a list of questions now. I have no idea which questions he's going to choose.
Yeah.
But hopefully if a few of those stood out to you, Bob, you can go ahead and call on people, and hopefully they were able to make it live here and they can ask their question.
So what I did was I just kind of took the liberty here to kind of come up with a training that I think will address the underlying issue of most of the questions that I get. So when people ask me questions, there's always the question, there's always what they think they need, and then there's usually what I can see that they need, but they may not realize yet. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to share some concepts with everyone. And I really believe that what I want to talk about is going to really get to the core of a lot of the issues that you all are having and questions. And since I know this is a group of leaders, is it okay if I just keep it 100% real with all of you?
Always.
Is that okay? Can you take, I'm not I'm here. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear if you want to build the business and the life of your dreams. Because that anytime I do a training like this, my goal is to give you at least something that can help you get some additional insight into what you do and help you be better, right? Go to that next level. And I see some, obviously Heather, who we're having speaking at our event, and I see some other familiar names and faces here. And I want to share with you a little bit about the philosophy that I have. I created this thing that I call the Legacy Leader Movement about a year and a half ago. And it's a very different approach to building a network marketing business. And it's a really different mindset when it comes to leadership in general. And I love what Amanda said about servant leadership. And I love that that's something that you all talk about and value, because the Legacy Leader Movement is really founded on the idea of becoming a leader and using your business not just as a way for you to get more of what you want in life, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I like nice things. There's nothing wrong with having money and getting rewards for our success. But a servant leader and a legacy leader is really someone that looks at their business not just as a way for them to get, but they really first and foremost look at their business as a way for them to give. And the reason why I love network marketing is because I really do believe it is the best profession to allow you to make a positive impact in the world and build a business that is in line with your priorities in life. And I think that a lot of people, they don't hear that message enough. So I want to give you some things tonight that I know are going to help you. And then what we'll do, Amanda, is I probably got about 20 minutes worth of stuff, 25. After I'm done, we can open it up for some Q&A and people that submitted questions, if they want some additional insight, we can do that. So, but let me talk a little bit more about this idea of legacy leadership that I teach. It's really founded on this idea that network marketing, what I believe it really is, like if you want to know the key to long-term success, like long-term sustainable success, here's what I believe it is your business is a character development program with a compensation plan attached to it. And I think a lot of times what we forget to realize, and I've been around this profession for, it's going on almost 20 years at this point. Spent the first 10 years, 11 years as a representative. I had a little bit of a break in between, but I still knew a lot of friends of mine that were, killing it in this business. And then I got back in and I started my own training company. But one of the things that I wish someone would have taught me when I first started my business was this: that success is not a matter of doing. It is a matter of being. If I really would have understood that when I first started, it would have saved me so much time and frustration. Because here's what we all have a natural tendency to do. When things are not going the way that we want them to, and when we're feeling kind of stuck, we naturally always look outside of ourselves for the solution, right? Things aren't working. We think it's because we don't have the right script, or, Facebook changed the algorithm again, and now I'm not getting enough people to watch my videos, or maybe I'm not using the right third-party tool, or I don't have the answer to the question that I needed, right? We're always looking outside of ourselves. And what we fail to realize is this, is that your external circumstances, like what you see around you, the reality of your life. And when we talk about your business, we're talking about the size of your downline, or the amount of your check last month or last week. Your external circumstances will always be a reflection of what's happening inside your head. What you see outside of you is always a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Now, here's the problem. Most of us don't understand this. Most of us are completely unconscious to the fact that our thinking for our whole life has been the thing that's created our reality. And we go through life on autopilot. And what do? We develop these limiting beliefs about ourselves, right? that we're not worthy of success, we're not good enough. We think these negative thoughts all the time about ourselves and our business, and we come up with these stories about why we aren't where we want to be. And all these things, right, your beliefs and your thoughts and your stories, they all form something called your identity. And what I want you to understand is every single one of you has an identity as it relates to your business. And if you aren't happy with the results that you see, it's because you've created an identity for yourself that is holding you back. And I didn't understand this, and let me know if any of you can relate to this. I spent my first couple of years in this profession working my you-know-what off and barely ever seeing results, or I would, I really believe I could write the book on self-sabotage. Like, how many people can relate to self-sabotage, right? Like, something goes well, and then you always find a way to kind of like screw it up, or you just, or my big problem was I was so inconsistent, right? I was always starting and stopping, and I never knew why. Like, I knew the right things, and look, you know the right things too. You don't need me to get on here and say, hey, it'd probably be a good idea if you prospect more people, or share your products with more people, or present, or trade. Like, you already know what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, Amanda has told you that. But the question is this: why are you not doing it? Or why are you not doing enough of it? Or why are you not doing it consistently long enough to get the results? And the reason why is because it's because of all this stuff that's happening in your head. And I can guarantee you this to be true. Unless you address this part first, there's no amount of massive action or desire or drive that is ever going to make a difference. You will never out-earn the person deep down inside you believe yourself to be. So we must start from this place, and we must understand that success is a matter of being, right? Here's what I used to do. Every year, like for the first 2 or 3 years of my business, I would set these big goals. And here I was in my business. My entire first year, I didn't recruit a single person. Like, I was not successful by anyone's measure. And it wasn't because I wasn't trying. I just wasn't successful. And I didn't understand this stuff was at play. But at the end of my first year, I would set these big goals, because that's what my mentor told me, right? He'd say, Bob, the problem is you're just not thinking big enough. You got to dream bigger, right? And I put this, like, how many people have ever created like a vision board? You ever heard of the vision board? Like, I had a vision board in my office. There was like a Lamborghini on there, and like a guy walking with a swimsuit model on the beach, and like all this stuff. And I'm doing this stuff, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't have a Lamborghini. Like, I can't even recruit one person. How am I going to get all this stuff, right? And I would set these huge goals. I want to make 6 figures. I want to do this. And it would feel so hollow. And I'm like, it's just not, like, I always deep down inside, I knew something was missing. I'm like, there must be some sort of step that I'm missing here. And year after year, I would repeat the same process. And what I didn't realize, and now I do, here's the question I should have been asking myself. I'd set these big goals, and the first thing I'd say is, what do I need to do to hit that goal? Talk to more people, do this, right? Because I thought success was a matter of doing. What I should have been asking is this: who would I need to be in order to achieve the goal that I say I want? See, because success is a matter of character. And what's interesting is, if you look at, people like Amanda, people like Heather, and I'm sorry if I'm missing some of the other top leaders that are on this call right now, but if you look at the top leaders in your company, people that you look up to and you aspire to be someday, I promise you, there are certain things they have in common. They show up in the world a little bit differently than you do right now, right? There are certain values and things and characteristics. And if you can start to pay attention to that, and you can start to look at your life and take an honest appraisal of the things that you haven't done in the past, and understand this. See, here's the interesting thing about looking back into your past. And I'll give you what is sometimes a little bit of a difficult thing to do, but it's incredibly beneficial. You want to know the key to you creating a better future? It lies in the wisdom of your past. And even more specifically, It lies within your biggest past regrets and failures. See, here's the interesting thing. If you can look back over the last year in your business and you can identify some of your biggest regrets, which sounds kind of funny, like concentrate on my regrets. That doesn't make sense. But here's what study after study has shown. Areas of our life where we feel regret the strongest are actually the areas of our life where corrective action is the strongest as well. So the parts of our life that we regret them for a reason, because we know that we didn't do something that we should have done that would have helped us create more success or live a better life. So those regrets, so let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Maybe, looking back, you just take an honest appraisal and you say, I just didn't put myself out there enough. I let fear really hold me back in my business. I had all this stuff, what are they going to think of me? Like, I let other people's opinions keep me from going out and sharing what I have to create what I want. So maybe that is a lesson for me there. Maybe that is something. So if I don't want to let fear hold me back anymore, what's the characteristic that I would need to embody in order to make that not happen again? Well, it would be courage. And I would argue that courage is a characteristic that is like one of the core fundamental ones. So maybe you say, well, I haven't been courageous, but I know if I can start acting more courageous and focus on that every day, that's going to help me create the business and the life that I want. And here's the interesting thing. You can't change your life, but you can change your habits. And your habits will actually change your life. It's the little things you do every day. It's you getting clear on what you should be doing and then holding yourself accountable to doing it. But the question is, though, why do we not do it, right? Why do we, going back to what I said earlier, well, I would argue one of the reasons why we don't take enough action or we don't take it consistently enough is because of this. Because we attach our own self-worth to whether or not someone says yes or no to us. So we actually have this limiting belief, and we've created this story that if somebody says no, it means we're not good enough, or it means we didn't do it right, or if we do a video and nobody watches it, we think that we suck, we did something wrong. We attach our own worthiness to the things that we do. And I will tell you, if that is where you are, you will never, never achieve extraordinary things in this world, because it's a race you can never, never win. But this is a belief that a lot of people have. And so, like, when I hear people all the time, they say, and it's kind of like a cute thing to say. And when you can tell when they say it, they're like so surface level. They're like, yeah, I'm just like afraid of failure, right? Like, it's just like, it's a cute, oh, Bob, I'm just afraid of failing. It's like a real cute thing to say. It sounds nice. But it's so surface level. That's what your story you've created. I'll tell you what you're afraid of, whether you realize it or not. You're afraid of actually trying, putting yourself out there and finding out you're not good enough. You're afraid of trying and having other people see you fail. See, here's the problem. This is what you need to do. You need to change that underlying core belief about yourself. The story in your life needs to be that you are good enough. Because here's the interesting thing about your mind. It will find exactly what you want it to. And if the core belief that you have, this story, and most of you have, and you don't even realize it, you're not even paying attention to the way that you talk to yourself and the way you think about your business. But if you have this playing in the background of your mind, you will only notice things that happen that are proof of that thought or that belief. How many of you had something like this happen where you actually do something good in your business, like you recruit someone or you hit a rank and you can't even give yourself credit for it, right? Like there's always but, I never, I hit it, but I did it. You're right. I should have done it quicker, or I didn't do it right. We can't even accept the good things in our life because we have this playing in our head. So whatever you focus on, you're going to attract more of. But here's the thing. You have to understand that the way that you change this, the way that you get out of this mindset of not enough, which, you could also call it a scarcity mentality. And I believe that people that have a scarcity mindset, it's one of the biggest problems in this profession. We all have these limiting beliefs about whether or not we can be successful. We're not good enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not smart enough. We have these stories. When you finally wake up and understand that this has always been the thing that's been, creating your life, you have the ability to change. It doesn't mean it's easy to change, but it is simple. It's as simple as you beginning to think different thoughts about yourself and your business. And here's the interesting thing about what I see people do, and I did this for so many years in my life. I'd look at my external circumstances. I'd look at what I see in front of myself, and I would base what I thought was possible for the future on what I saw in my current reality. And what you don't understand is this. And when I learned this, it changed my life. What you see in front of you today is evidence of your past thinking. So the thoughts that you thought yesterday, last month, last year, those thoughts created your reality today. And if you are basing what you think is possible for your future based off of what you see in front of you, you are living your life in the past. And you have created this negative self-fulfilling prophecy. Look, here's the interesting thing. The way that this works is this. You think a thought, and that creates an emotion inside of you. And that emotion will determine whether you show up and do the work. And I guarantee you, if your prevailing thinking is, I'm not good enough, I suck, I'm not this, you're not going to feel really good. Like, how many of you have already figured out it's tough to feel motivated? And the reason why you struggle with motivation and consistency is because you've got this tape playing in the back of your head. And when you don't feel motivated, you're sure as heck ain't going to do the work. And I guarantee you this, you consistently don't do the work, guess what your life is going to look like a year from now? The same, if not worse than it does today. See, but here's where this can really change for you. Understanding that the evidence of your future circumstances is your thinking of today. So by literally changing the thoughts that you have, choosing new thoughts, because guess what? All a thought is your interpretation of what's happening. Thoughts are not real. Like, a thought is literally like something happens to you and you create a story about what it means. You assign meaning to it. That's the reason why, look, you've heard these stories all the time where you can have two children that grow up in the same household, an abusive father, alcoholic. And years later, they go and they interview the two children, and one of them is an alcoholic. And they say, why do you think you're an alcoholic? And his answer is, well, how could I not be? Look at my dad. And then the other child they go interview, and he has managed to create a productive life where he's made a big impact. And they say, why do you think you wound up the way that you did? And he said, how could I not look at my father? Two circumstances, two different interpretations, two different meanings assigned to challenges and struggle. And this is what we do, but you've just been conditioned to do it in a way that holds you back. So what I want you to start doing is I want you to really start becoming conscious of the prevailing thoughts that you have. Because when you can start thinking better thoughts about yourself, it starts creating positive emotions. And when you feel better, don't you feel more motivated to go do the work? Of course you do. And guess what happens? If you can consistently do that every day, I can guarantee you a year from now, your life is going to look a lot better than it does today. See, here's where a lot of you don't understand. Greatness lies in consistency. Greatness is just showing up and doing a little bit every single day. So the evidence of your future is in your thinking of today. Let me give you a tangible example of how you can start to do this, because I don't know of any other way to get out of the scarcity limiting mindset quicker than the practice of gratitude. So like, if you want to learn how to train your mind to get out of scarcity, the easiest way to do that is start to, and I actually learned this from Tony Robbins, you need to learn how to trade your expectations in life for appreciation. Because I'll guarantee you this, and I want you, after this call, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about any area in your life that you are currently experiencing pain or suffering. I promise you, it's because you had an expectation of how something should have went, or someone should have acted or what they should have said to you, and that was not met. Unmet expectations are the biggest thief of joy in our life. Now, if you can learn how to stop expecting and just learn to start appreciating the things that you do have and understand that you will, as hard as, and I know I've tried it, as hard as you want to try, you will never be able to change other people. And you certainly won't be able to change their opinions about your business and what you do. So you might as well just stop worrying about it because they're going to have them anyway. So if we can't change other people, what can we do? We can change how we are in relation to other people, the way you show up. And I just noticed this. When I stopped expecting so much and I trained and here's the sad part about this. It's hard to do. Like it's so crazy how when you teach people to start like practicing gratitude, right? Just look for the little things in your life to appreciate. People can't even do it in the beginning. They're like, well, I don't know, because we've been so conditioned to just look for the negative. But here's what I know will happen. You start looking for the positive, just the little things. It'll start to create better emotions for you, which will dramatically increases the chances that you show up. And when you start focusing on the good, it allows that to expand, right? You start attracting more of that into your life. You just, through repetition, you keep reminding yourself that you are good enough, that you are worthy. Look, I adopted a belief in my business, and I'd just love it to share. I'd love to share it with you because maybe for those of you that are on this same kind of wavelength, you'll appreciate this. Even if you're not, I think you'll still appreciate it. But I learned to change the story of my business from something that I could get to something that I could give. And I really started looking at my network marketing business as a vehicle to help me live out a bigger purpose for my life. I stopped basing my identity on my products and my business, and I started looking at my business as a way for me to do some important things. And I really, really started to believe, and I want to share this with you, that I believed, and this is what I teach a lot of people today, and we teach it inside of our Legacy Leadership Academy. Heather will tell you this, and that I believe that your business is an assignment from God. And I believe that that assignment is to help you grow as a person, a spiritual being. This is character development. Because how many of you can agree? It's not easy doing this. And we got to put up with a lot of stuff every day. And how many of you can also agree that when you first signed up into your business, it's almost like a spotlight got shined down on you to highlight all of your insecurities about yourself, all your self-doubt, all the stuff inside of you that you don't want anybody else to know or see. It gets brought to the surface the minute. It's almost like when I look back at my life, and I felt like when I finally told God, I'm going to create a better life for myself, it was like he looked at me and he said, okay, let's see how bad you want it. And it was obstacle after obstacle put in my way. And those first couple of years when I was struggling, and I was like asking God, why is this not happening for me? I'm a good person. I'm working hard. What's going on? What I didn't realize is I was being prepared for something so much bigger in my life. And looking back, what I realized is that God doesn't always give us what he wants. He gives us what we need. And people are assignments, and challenges are assignments. And look, I don't know your belief system, universe, God, whatever your thing is. I just want to wake you up. There's a higher power at play here. It is not an accident that you said yes to this profession. It is not an accident that you are on this Zoom tonight. There is a reason you're here. Your steps are being directed right now. And look, I get it might not have happened as quickly as you want. And I know what it's like to be in that dark place where you're questioning, do I have what it takes? Am I good enough? I've been there so many times, but here's the thing. You don't quit. Just like I didn't quit. And you don't quit, and I didn't quit. Because deep down inside of us, we knew that there was something bigger out there for us. What most people accepted as good enough wasn't good enough for us. We felt a burning desire to do something special with our lives, and that's the reason why we said yes to this profession. And that's the reason why we're attracted to this profession. And my message to you is this, is if you can start looking at your business as a way for you to go out and do a couple of things. Because this is what we teach. The legacy leadership movement is about, instead of putting ego and fear at the center of your business, like a lot of people do, especially in the ego-driven world of social media that we live in today, right? A lot of the people that I come across are not servant leaders. They are self-serving leaders. Instead of putting ego and fear and just personal gain at the center of your business, you put love at the center of your business as the foundation. And you start looking at your business as a way for you to love, to serve, and to grow. And to the degree that you can do those things, you will dramatically increase your chances of success. And so we teach people this, to have a purpose-driven mentality, to realize that the purpose for your business is so much bigger than just you hitting the next rank or getting a bonus check. And when you can start to look at that, here's what I found out. It took me 15 years. My first 15 years of my entrepreneurial career were barely a success in this profession, treading water. It wasn't until I understood that the income that I earn is a byproduct of the impact that I make in the lives of other people. And I stopped obsessing, for so many years. I can remember being, I was 30 years old, okay? I was 30 years old. I had been in this profession for 5 years trying to make this thing work, quit my job. I was living on a friend's couch in a basement apartment, being a full-time network marketer, right? Completely broke, obsessing, thinking that the solution to my problems was going to be when I made a lot of money. And I used to have this crazy obsession, and I don't know why, because I think it was just taught to me. Like I just wanted to make $1 million. It was like 7 figures. Like if I could build a 7-figure business, I would never have another problem in the world. And I obsessed over that because that was the culture that I was brought up in. And what's interesting was I never even came close to getting it. It wasn't until I was exposed to different mentors that taught and embodied the stuff that I'm sharing with you tonight and really made me look inside myself and said, Bob, maybe you're focusing on the wrong things here. And what the big shift for me happened when I stopped obsessing over making $1 million and I started obsessing over trying to help and inspire and impact 1 million people. And I stepped into the bigger calling for my life, even though it scared me to death. And by the way, that event was when I started doing live videos, right? When I finally stepped into that and changed my focus, everything changed for me. These last 3 years for me and my family, we've been blessed in a way so far beyond anything I could have ever imagined. But to me, the greatest gift is being able to do things like this, being able to pour into other people. So you have to understand, I really if there's anything I can leave with you here tonight, I really want to leave you with the incredible responsibility that you all have as leaders. The reason why I love this profession so much is I don't know of any other business where someone like myself, somebody that was, very average by anyone's measure. I mean, I was like a C student in college. I didn't excel at anything, but I always had big hopes and dreams for my life. And I had no business starting a business, but here I was. And through just sheer determination and grit and not quitting, I was eventually put in a position where I had influence on a team of thousands and thousands of people. And some of you are at that point, or you're on your way to that point. And I just want you to understand the great responsibility you have to influence these people that will be looking to you, that will be aspiring to be you, that will be watching and listening to every single word you say and everything you do, and that you have an opportunity to teach them that by developing strong moral character and by being a person of integrity, and that it's more important for you to be remembered for the person that you were in your life than the things that you've accomplished, that we have a chance to use this profession not only to change people's lives, but to change the world. And I just believe that the world needs network marketing. They just don't know it yet. They just really don't know it, because we don't have enough people that are building the business the right way, that are stepping out boldly and sharing what they believe and really, really starting to create that ripple effect. And that's why I created this thing I call the Legacy Leader Movement. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching this. But I just want you to realize, like, I want to just try to open your eyes, because here's what happening, because this happened to me. We get so caught up in the small little details and the minutia and the doing, and we spend all our time looking outside of ourselves, and we never look inwards to what really is the most important. So, I know y'all had a lot of questions about like the doing, which I'm happy to answer, but I didn't feel as though I was going to do you a disservice if I just answered the doing questions without having this conversation with you first. So with that, Amanda, I'll kick it back over to you, and then however you want to handle it from here. If you just want to have people ask their questions, or just ask any additional questions, then that's good with me.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I can see a lot of comments in the chat here. Lots of tears, lots of clapping, lots of mind blown emojis. And I know I am so inspired and having just an overwhelmed sense of gratitude tonight for Bob and for his message. Does anybody have anything specific that you'd like to ask, especially as it relates to, really looking inward and starting from the inside out as you grow your business? Anything that stuck out to you that you want to raise your hand? You could just go ahead and unmute. If you do, let's see.
I do.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, so you said, to practice like your thoughts. So my thing is like an unworthy issue, and I feel like I try, or I'm more conscious of it now than I was.
Mm-hmm.
But is there any, like, I don't know, I don't know what I'm really trying to ask, but is there a specific, like, how do you catch yourself? Because there's times where I'm just like, I don't even realize it. And then it's there.
Well, the first step, and thanks for the question, Michelle, the first step is waking up to the fact that you're doing it, right? Because most of us, we do this unconsciously. We don't realize, maybe we have these fleeting moments, but we don't understand the impact that ultimately has on our results. So when you finally make the connection that this is the thing that all the time that's been that's been the most important, now at least you've got the initiative to try to change it. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and it doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, because look, let's be real. Like, we all got as screwed up as we are today. It took us a while to get that screwed up, right? It was a whole bunch of stuff that happened and a whole bunch of thinking. And so the way that you got to the way that you are today, which is through repetition, is the way that you're going to change it. Now, I'm going to go back to something that I said earlier, because I think that a lot of this is, it sounds great and it makes sense, but I know that you need like a tangible way to get started. And I'm going to just reinforce what I said earlier. Anybody that struggles with issues of worthiness and has that story, you really need to force yourself to start looking for the good in your life. You have to really, really start paying close attention, practicing gratitude every day. I mean, it's something that, look, I remember for so long, people were like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds nice, but I just never made the time to do it because I didn't understand the importance of it. And I think the problem that we have as entrepreneurs, especially when we have a mindset of scarcity, because like, understand this, scarcity is not just something that people that struggle deal with. Scarcity is rampant in this profession. And scarcity is this idea that it's never going to be enough. And what happens is there are so many leaders that have an achievement mentality where they just think that hitting that next level or whatever, that's going to be the solution to their problems. And it's like they think that when they get there, they'll finally feel happy. But what winds up happening is you wind up chasing happiness your whole life, and you never experience what you really need, which is joy. See, happiness is fleeting and temporary. Happiness is you hit the rank, you feel good for a day, and then you have that anxiety attack realizing you got to do it all over again next month. And you're like, all right, back to work, or okay, I got that out of the way. Now what's next? You never allow yourself to really experience the accomplishment. And so what happens is, and that's why when I teach people that when you take action, one of two things happens. You either get the result you want, which is good, or you get the lesson that you need, which is even better. See, we don't really learn through our success because we don't even take enough time to allow ourselves to enjoy it. See, it's when we get the no's, those are the opportunities for us to grow. But what you need to really start doing is if you really, really want to feel fulfilled by what you do, you have to bring joy into the process. See, joy is not something outside of you. It's something that comes from inside of you. Joy is falling in love with the everyday of building the business. See, joy takes what you look at now as things that you have to do. Oh, I've got to prospect again. I've got to do another Facebook Live. I've got to post again. See, that when you have a scarcity mindset and you're chasing happiness through achievement, everything is I've got to. It's always going to feel like a chore. See, the secret is you need to bring joy into the process, and that comes from you doing things like gratitude, where you start changing the emotions. Joy makes it go from things that you have to do to things that you get to do. Oh, I get to talk to someone else today about my business. I get to do another Facebook Live. Now, that doesn't mean sometimes you're not going to feel like it, but you'll be connected to the idea that there's a bigger meaning, there's a bigger purpose behind you sharing your products, right? You know, you have an opportunity to transform people's lives. And you know, I'm giving you like a really long answer to your question, Michelle. What happens is this: every single day that you can bring yourself to do these new things that the old Michelle would not ever have done, it's almost like a vote for the new, improved future you. And every time you take action, you know, maybe normally you were afraid to reach out, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to stop, because once again, we just need to create new stories in our mind. And when you would have felt fear before, you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to stop letting fear keep me back, because I'm going to remember what Bob said. And I'm going to remember that even if I get a no, that what I'll get is the lesson that I need. And here's the lesson. Every time you do something that you didn't think you could have done, every time you have the courage to put yourself out there, even if it doesn't go the way you want, I promise you this is what will happen. Your confidence will start to grow. Your belief in yourself will start to grow. See, character, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Character is forged through the nose. And see, the problem that you have is you call the no failure. Look, failure is just your interpretation. It doesn't actually exist. It's just a construct of your mind. It's only a failure if you decide it is. It's only a failure if you're not looking for the lesson. It's only a failure if you attach your self-worth to the no. So if you start changing the story and you say, well, the no's are not that bad, because you want to know what? The no's are going to help build me up. And ultimately, as you grow, you get more of the yeses. So you attract what you want to you. You don't pursue it and chase it. And that happens through your own growth and development as you go through the no's.
Thank you. Wow, so much.
So so Michelle, it's not going to be easy, but it's a battle that you just have to wage and win every day. And listen, also give yourself go easy on yourself, right? Like, it's okay. Some days you're not going to show up the way that you want. You know, the old days of you beating yourself up and saying, see, I told you, you're not good enough. Right. Give yourself a little bit of grace here. You know, this is a process, but the moment that you wake up to it, it's never going to be the same again, because at least now you're going to be aware of what you're doing. And that awareness alone will increase the chances that you make things better.
I appreciate that very much, because beating myself up is
let me real
something
quick. Can I real quick just give them the link to the live stream before I forget?
Absolutely.
So if you all are interested, let me type this in here. So the event that Amanda told you about, we actually have Heather speaking at. I'm really excited to have her. is called the Impact and Growth Summit, and it's happening in Dallas, Texas next Friday through Sunday. So I know that probably a little unrealistic for you to make a road trip to Dallas, but we do have a virtual ticket. And I put the link for you to get a ticket. I'm also going to put in a code that you can use. Don't ask where that code came from. Just use it. If you go to yourvirtualupline.com/live stream and you use the code ROB, you get $50 off the live stream ticket. So you can get all 3 days of the live stream and lifetime access to all the recordings. So even if you can't be there to watch it, you'll get the recordings for $147 if you use that code. So you can go and look, if you live in Dallas and you're up for a road trip, hit Heather up and let her know, and she'll give you the details on how you can actually attend the event live.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, guys, I think that's all the time. Unless, Bob, you have any remaining last little thoughts you want to leave with us. I think that's all the time that he has for us tonight, you guys. Anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that, so I've been on a lot of, obviously I've been on a lot of, I go to a lot of trainings, I go to a lot of events. I'm going to just venture to guess that some of you probably took a lot of notes, right? And, there's a problem with that in that we leave trainings like this with great intention. We're excited to go out and implement, and we've got these great ideas. But then what happens is, and I see a lot of little kiddos hanging around here, and I've got a 20-month-old of my own at home. We have these great intentions, but then we go back into our life and life happens. And we lose that inspiration and excitement, and days go by and we don't implement what we learn. Here's what I've learned. The key to success lies inside of the speed of implementation. So the speed at which you take things that you learn and implement them will have a profound impact on whether you succeed. So what my message to you is, some of you need to start getting really clear. Like you only can ever do one thing at a time. So like leaving a training like this, what I would do is I would look at my notes and I would find one thing. It might not even be the right thing or the best thing, but find one thing that you can implement and do, and take action on that right away. Because the longer you wait, the less likely you're ever going to be to take action. So if you can start increasing the speed of implementation, acting faster, and just, because here's the other thing fear causes us to do. Fear causes us to think too big. So like you've got this big goal, and it might be several ranks away from you right now. And you're feeling overwhelmed because you're focusing on everything that you've got to do to get there. See, what you need to learn how to do is start thinking really small. You need to get really clear on what is the next thing that I can do, because you can only ever do that one next thing. See, your big goals are just a culmination of a bunch of little next things that happen over and over again. So get really clear on what the next thing is to do, because clarity eliminates all excuses, right? You can give all the excuses in the world until you know what you're supposed to do. And if you don't do it, that's your fault. It's nobody else's. Get clear on what you need to do and implement fast. So tomorrow, I want you to take something you learned today, and I want you to implement it in your business, in your life. Whatever that means for you. Pick one thing, eliminate it, because that momentum that you get from doing. See, some of you, that's going to be like so out of character. You're going to be like, the old me wouldn't have done it. That's the point. The old you got you to where you are today. And I'm just going to venture that's not good enough. Because people that have everything, the people that have everything they want in their life don't sit on a Zoom training with some guy yelling at them for an hour, right? There's a lot of other things you can do with your life, but it's not good enough. And the last thing I'll share with you is this. You have to understand that you need to embrace the pain of the process of getting better. See, a lot of you are talking about how you want things to be better, and you're, we won't call it complaining, but you're just, verbalizing how you're not happy with your life and where it is. Look, I've come to learn this. The life that you have today is the one that you are willing to put up with. So if you're complaining about your life, but you're not doing anything about it, then it don't hurt bad enough. You have the life that you're willing to put up with. And when it finally starts to hurt enough and you actually get out there and you start doing it, that's when you start changing. But we try to avoid pain, thinking that if we just stay in our little comfort zone and we never step outside of that, that we'll be okay. But all we're doing is delaying the inevitable, right? It's short-term pleasure for long-term pain. I promise you, if you let fear keep you from putting yourself out there in the world, you might feel good now, but at the end of your life, you will look back and you will look back at every missed opportunity that you had. And the pain that you experience there will be so much greater than the short-term pain of you just showing up and taking action. So what I want you to do is embrace the short-term pain of building your business so that you can experience the long-term pleasure and fulfillment of living the life of your dreams, which every single one of you has the ability to do inside of you. So that'll probably be a good ending. We'll leave it there.
Well, Bob, thank you so much. The only thing maybe more inspiring than this training is your amazing hair, which I haven't stopped staring at this entire time. No, but honestly, it has just been the most beautiful message. We can totally feel your heart and your energy coming through. And we are grateful so much for you and to you for all the value that you provide to our profession and to the network marketing community. So guys, watch for the replay link on this. I'll send it out via email shortly. Thank you to everyone. I'm going to go ahead and just unmute. I'll end the recording here.